Hello and welcome back to the latest episode of the Golf Ireland pod. I am delighted to be your host, Stephen Murphy. Thank you as always for tuning in and listening. We really do appreciate it, and we hope you all had a great weekend. Hope you got plenty of golf in, and we hope that you're doing well. As always, we have plenty of action to recap. We have a fantastic guest, and we will preview the upcoming events this week. But first, let us kick off with, as I said, some recap action. Alan Gaynor is the 2023 Irish Open for Players with a Disability champion after an exciting day at Roganstown Golf Club. The County Sligo golfer has become the first Irish person to win the event in its second year, and he looks forward to watching the event grow. Gaynor stormed to an impressive 9-stroke victory over Monkstown's Colin O'Sullivan after he added a final round 77 to his opening 75 to give him a total of 10 over par. And Germany's Jennifer Schrager finished in third place, one shot further back, and was the leading female in the tournament. So fantastic win for Alan. A few quotes from him. He said, "It's great, nice to get it done. It was a nervy one there finishing off, but great to get it done. Obviously delighted with the win. Nice to come out on top this week. My home event, so it's obviously one that I wanted to win, and nice to get the job done." So yeah, he was absolutely ecstatic, as you can expect, especially being a hometown event. Roganstown itself was a great venue for the players. Everyone couldn't have spoken more highly of it. The course was in immaculate condition and provided with a great test of quick sloping greens. Again, Alan quoted, "It's really, really good track. Thanks very much to the members for giving us the course for the week. It was in really good condition and it was a great test. I'm sure if I ever needed it, if it ever needed again, it's a great venue and everyone seems to love it. So thanks again to the members." Yeah, so congratulations to Alan and everyone at Roganstown Golf Club for a fantastic event, and once again just shedding the light on a fantastic disability kind of golf at the moment and where it is and the strides it's taking. So congratulations to everyone there. We have some kind of bad news in the Vagliano Trophy and the Junior Vagliano Trophy after having Maria Dunn on last week. The continent of Europe unfortunately continued its winning ways by winning the senior and junior international matches against Great Britain and Ireland at Royal Dornoch. GB&I is now without a win in the Vagliano Trophy since 2005, following today's 13.5 to 10.5 defeat. While the junior team fell just short of securing its first win in the junior Vagliano Trophy after the match finished tied at 9-all. Absolutely heartbreaking there to lose in a tied match like that. So commiserations to everyone. But Maria Dunn, she took heart from the winning the morning foursomes, hoping her team would kick on to victory. And she couldn't have asked much more from Beck Coulter and Anya Donegan, who contributed 4 points to the 10.5 points scored. So great golf from them. Incredible. We all know how good they are and how amazing they've been. Maria, obviously, she was gutted for her players. She said they gave it her all. I asked them to fight for every point. They did, and I couldn't really have asked anything more from them. And look, that's kind of all you can ask as a captain. She continued on to say they fought hard to level the match after this morning's foursomes, but we just came up short. On another day, the result would have gone our way, but we can do ourselves proud because it was so close. The European team was just stronger on the day, but a huge effort from everyone, including Maria. Absolutely no shame in the performance that they had. And they'll be back stronger than ever, I'm sure. And in the junior as well, tied 9-all, but the Irish pair of Costello and Dillon deserve a special mention. They earned 3.5 points out of a possible 4. So again, some unbelievable golf from the Irish on show. Just shows you the level of golf in the country at the moment, especially on the women's side. It's just incredible. Finally then, we have the Europeans Men Amateur Championship. This was held in Estonia. Some incredible scoring over 4 rounds. The leader and the winner, should I say, was Spanish golfer Jose Luis Ballester Barrio. He was 21 under for the 4 rounds, shooting rounds of 62, 66, 66 and then 73 to finish. It looks like round 4 was considerably harder looking at the scores than the other 3 rounds. Best of the Irish was Hugh Foley. He finished in 5th position on 18 under par. I'd say at the start of the week, he would have thought 18 under par would have won, but he was 3 shots back. He had 4 very consistent rounds, 67, an incredible 63 in round 2, and then 2 70s to finish off at the weekend. Great effort from Hugh. He's finding a bit of form now in the last couple of weeks, and it's showing. And he'll be looking to push on. Also in the top 20 was Mark Power. He finished on 15 under par, 3 shots back of Hugh, and 6 shots back of the lead. He shot rounds of 67, 65, 70 and 71. And also shout out to Max Kennedy, who finished in the top 50 as well. A good week for him on 8 under par. So very tight scoring, very low scoring, and a good European amateur championship event there in Estonia. So congratulations to Jose Luis, and congratulations to all the Irish who made a good run of it there. And yeah, that sums up all of our recap action. We will now throw it over to our guest, who is none other than Matt McClean. So we'll throw that over to that now. I am now delighted to be joined by Matt McClean, who has joined us here on the Golf Ireland pod. Thanks very much for taking some time out of your very busy schedule. Matt, how are you? How's all with yourself?
Yeah, no problem at all. Yeah, all good. Keeping well, keeping busy. So a lot of travelling lately, but I'll get used to the time zone I'm in at some point.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're calling from Estonia at the moment, which obviously isn't too bad for time zones. But what's Estonia like? I know you're probably not seeing a ton of it, but it's probably not exactly somewhere you'd go on holiday if you were going on your own personal time.
Yeah, it's lovely. We're staying in a place called Pornu, so it's a lovely, lovely town. Very nice, beside the sea. So yeah, it's not what I expected Estonia to look like. So yeah, it's a very good place.
Nice one. Yeah, look, before we'll get talking about the European Amateur Team Championships in a bit, Matt, but before we get to chatting about that, I'd like to look back at last year, which was a very, very good year for yourself. We'll have to kick off where we have, of course, the US Mid-Am, which you won in 2022, of course, at Erin Hills, beating very familiar rival there in Hugh Foley. First of all, just Erin Hills, as a golf fan, I've seen obviously US Opens and Brooks Koepka winning there. Looks like an absolutely stunning course. Does it play as good as it looks?
Yeah, it's a fantastic place. The venue itself, it's, a massive piece of land. It's, an American golf course, big, long, big greens, but everything's done, pretty much to perfection. So obviously I'll have fond memories of the place, and, I'm sure Hugh will as well. So it was cool to be able to play on that standard of a golf course, obviously with the history it has as well. So yeah, very fond memories, and an unbelievable golf course.
What is the first memory that comes to mind when you do look back? Because it was back in September. Does it seem that long ago? Now we're in July now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously a lot's happened since. So yeah, it does seem quite a long time ago, but it feels like it's more, over a year ago, and it's not quite the year. So, but yeah, still obviously very good memories of the place, and but yeah, a lot's happened since. So, plenty of stuff to think about since that's happened.
Yeah, if anyone isn't familiar, obviously you played Hugh Foley in the final, but it was a great story because you guys were actually sharing living accommodation for the week. You drove to the course together, which is obviously not your typical scenario with your rival. Was that easy? I remember talking to you about it. He said it actually wasn't that difficult at all. You guys were very good at not talking about golf in the evenings. You talk about anything other than that. Did you find it as easy as he did?
Yeah, I mean, it was good fun. It was pretty relaxed. We obviously didn't play each other until the final day, so we were wishing each other well the whole way, and obviously wanted to play. Each of us wanted to play well in the final, and have a good game, which we did. So the last night was obviously a bit odd because we had already played 18 holes of the final, and then we had a pretty early night and a pretty early start. So yeah, no, it was great fun, and obviously to be able to play the week with you and have good fun along the way was great. And he obviously had a great week that week as well, and just obviously one of us had to win that week. He's won plenty other weeks as well, so he's doing all right.
Talk to me then about the pressure of obviously winning the US Mid-Am alone is a fantastic achievement, but it comes with all these added perks. Obviously the big ones are being invited to the Masters, being invited to the US Open this year, which we'll get to now in a few minutes. Is that in your head coming down the back nine on the Mid-Am? Is that in your head at all, or are you very good at shutting that sort of stuff out?
Yeah, I've never had. Well, it's the first time I've ever had to sort of think about something that significant when playing a golf match. I've never. Obviously, there's only a very few golf matches that have that reward at the end. So yeah, obviously tried to block it out as much as possible, but thought about it, briefly, multiple times throughout the week and throughout the day. So more when it was going negative, it would have been, if you were playing bad. I got off to a really bad start in the stroke play, so it was very, very sort of possible that I was going to miss the cut pretty early on. So it was more that you don't have the opportunity to play it, as opposed to any point when you were doing well that you're going to play the Masters. It seemed a bit surreal at the time.
When you're talking to Hugh after beating him like that, and because he knows obviously the prize that was up for stake, is there anything you can say to soften that blow, or is it just a case of unfortunate you didn't win today?
Yeah, I mean, it was more him congratulating me at the end, and I didn't really have too many words to say, other than obviously we were just sort of say good game and enjoy it. But yeah, it was I knew how tough it would have been for him at the time, and vice versa. If it was the other way around, then obviously he would have been quite gracious in victory as well. So you just sort of handle it whatever way you sort of feel natural at the time, and he was happy for me, and I was obviously disappointed for him that he couldn't win, but it was obviously to my good fortune that I was able to win that day.
And as I said, you got invited to the Masters and the US Open. We'll start with the Masters. Look, all us amateurs dream of playing at Augusta and playing at the Masters. Talk me through that week, that build up, the practice rounds. I know you practiced with a couple of the Irish boys, Larry and Harrington, and even that first drive up Magnolia Lane. Were you just in full take it in mode?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's the same. The funny thing about the Masters is that it's everything what you expect it to be. It's everyone has seen what it looks like. Everyone knows all the holes, all the shots, and it's exactly what it looks like on TV. But to be standing there in person and looking at it is definitely a very out of body experience that you probably never thought you would have. But yeah, it was brilliant. Really enjoyed the week. It was you were pretty conscious that it could have been a lot of pressure and it wasn't fun. It would have been just an experience that you were sort of in, but it was great fun. I had my friend Stevie who was there caddying for me, and we were pretty relaxed most of the week. Start of the week it was in at the deep end, but we gradually sort of got comfortable, and as you said, practice rounds with Laurie and Rory as well, and Seamus was great. They were very good at obviously they've been there, done that multiple times, so I was able to, I think, get a bit more relaxed just being around those guys as well.
When you're playing with the caliber of players like that in a practice round, are you asking as many questions as possible, or are you trying to almost play it cool and try not to intrude too much?
Yeah, a bit of both. Obviously, you want to pick up some sort of knowledge off them, but you don't want to be too eager and sort of annoying them either. So most of the time, I just sort of listen to them. It's funny, how elite those guys are. The way they play practice rounds is pretty similar to what even the way we play practice rounds in amateur golf as well. You're out with a couple of friends and you're having a bit of crack, and you're more talking about the golf course naturally. So they would be having a conversation about this happened this year and this happened this year, and just sort of listening to them. You didn't really have to ask too many questions. They were talking it out between themselves most of the holes.
Obviously, Rory's known for his driving off the tee. Larry's short game is famous among even pros. Did they really impress you with their games? Did it shock you nearly how good they were, or was it more like they're obviously very good, but I'm pretty good too?
No, like they're obviously unbelievable. They're a standard above me by a couple of levels comfortably. So I thought it's funny the way you play with those guys, and I think the biggest thing was that like Rory played nicely, and we were like he played. He wasn't playing bad. He wasn't playing like unbelievable, but like he had five birdies in a row in the practice round that I played with him. But it didn't even feel like he had 5 birdies, and that's probably the most impressive thing. And then Larry's known for a short game, but I think he's pretty underrated how good he is tee to green as well. So yeah, they were just really good players. Obviously, they did everything very good. They didn't have a weakness. They're obviously they're top guys in the world, so you wouldn't really expect anything less.
Absolutely. You got paired with Vijay Singh and Scott Stallings in the actual second round. Obviously, being paired with Vijay Singh alone is incredible. Scott Stallings as well, an experienced pro. What was it like playing with the caliber of player of Vijay Singh in those first 2 rounds? Are you conscious of this, or are you just so focused on your own game, trying to block everything out?
Yeah, again, it's the same idea. It was obviously playing with Scott Stallings, a great player, PGA Tour player. really, really good. Vijay Singh's, that sort of different level. He's one of the most famous faces in golf, really. So it was odd playing with Vijay. Definitely, he was. I remember, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, when I was, just looking at golf for the first time. Vijay was, really, he was almost like not real how famous he was in golf. And yeah, to play with Vijay was unbelievable. Yeah, it's a really cool thing to be able to say you've done. But yeah, again, they were pretty normal. They were relaxed, just playing around the golf like you would expect on a Saturday afternoon at the club as well. So it's pretty cool to see how those guys go about competition and just they're really relaxed. I thought they'd be a lot more uptight and serious about the whole thing. Like they were taking it serious, but they were hitting putts. They would look at a putt from 10 foot for 10 seconds and hit it. It wasn't as if they were, doing anything different to what any other golfer would do.
Last thing, and then on Augusta, any of the holes stick out to you as particular favourites? Obviously, of the famous ones, the 16th obviously stands out for a lot of people. What was your kind of favourite hole of the week?
Yeah, I mean, I think my favorite hole or sort of area is obviously the 12th and 13th is unbelievable. I was sort of happy enough to birdie 13 both days as well, so I'd probably 13 would take would clinch that sort of that title of favorite hole. But yeah, that area down at Airman Corners is unbelievable. I don't really think there's any golf course like it that I've ever been to. The sort of the feeling you're getting down there walking over the hill on 11. And in that corners, it is unbelievable. So yeah, I'd give it to 13.
The 11th hole scares the crap out of me, I'm not going to lie. I wouldn't like playing that in person. Moving on to the US Open then at LACC, Los Angeles Country Club. Again, qualified through the MidAmateur, which is fantastic. Different tests, obviously, to Augusta. US Opens are set up to be, the toughest tests in professional golf. On a course that I'm assuming, like a lot of the pros, you weren't very familiar with. Talk to me again about the build-up to that week. What's your expectations going into a week like that? Talk to me about that.
Yeah, as you said, it was a really cool place. I think obviously there was a bit of criticism from certain players and of the the venue maybe for hosting a US Open in particular, but the golf course itself is really cool. I was able to go and play it the Wednesday before the week started. Obviously no crowds or anything like that, and it was only a handful of guys were there. So it's a really, really cool golf course. Enjoyed it. Obviously the test itself was really difficult. It was long, but it was the rough was just incredibly thick. If you missed a fairway, you were chipping out. It was as bad as that. So I enjoyed the experience. It was a really fun week. I said I'm a family over there. My girlfriend was over, and a couple of friends were over as well. So it was it was a really cool experience. I just didn't play well enough, especially in the second round. But it was one of those courses that if you were a bit off, then it just was really penal. So disappointing with the results. It wasn't, I was trying to make the cut. That was my goal. But two, I guess it was 2 over maybe or 3 over. Around that golf course in those conditions was really good standard. So golf side of things was pretty disappointing, but overall experience it was great.
When you look back at the Masters and the US Open, what do you try and take from those experiences then going forward?
It's just the experience of playing with better players. I think multiple guys have said that over the years. I've heard loads of guys saying the exact same thing, is that how you get better at golf is playing with better people, and you learn just how to do simple things better, really. So yeah, playing with the guys I've played with over the last few months, just picking up in their small things that they do in the golf course, and I think the big thing is pretty much every pro I played with isn't afraid of any golf shot. They'll hit it, even if they hit it out of bounds or in a hazard. They'll still sort of go through with the shot, hit it, and then deal with the consequences after. So, the big thing I sort of found is is just take on the shot, hit it, and deal with the consequences after, whatever they may be.
You kind of mentioned a few times, has the mindset kind of surprised you at how relaxed and, as you're saying there, like not being very fearful? Did that stick out to you? Did I lose you there, Matt? Matt, can you hear me?
Yeah, got you now, yeah.
Perfect. Cool. Did you hear the question, or will I repeat it?
No, I didn't hear it. It was frozen there. I didn't hear anything.
Perfect. Cool. You mentioned a few times the mindset of the pros and how relaxed they were, and as you were saying there, the lack of fear for hitting certain shots. Is that something that stuck out to you?
Yeah, exactly. That was the big thing. Yeah, is that they, obviously they do it week in, week out, and the main thing was, they don't shy away from a difficult shot, and most of the time when you hit a shot, the consequence normally isn't as bad as what you think it's going to be standing over it. So, they're just incredibly good at dealing with whatever comes their way and not being afraid of the situation they may put themselves in with a shot.
Fantastic. We'll move on to the World Amateur Golf Rankings, also known as the WAGR. You are currently 63rd in that ranking. I believe you're the highest Irish person in that ranking as well. How much attention do you pay to the WAGR, Matt? Is it something that just comes with good play, or are you actively checking that?
It's an important ranking. Whether or not certain people have a certain opinion on it, I don't know. I don't really look into it too much. I don't know the ins and outs of it. I just sort of play the events, and then wherever your ranking is, that's where it is. It's I'm certainly not looking into sort of what events to play and what not to play and all that sort of stuff. It's the ranking is what it is. I mean, is it accurate? I don't know. I wouldn't be an expert in the field, so I know sometimes you feel as if you should be higher. Sometimes you think maybe your ranking is a bit lower than what it should be. So, it's an important ranking for teams. There's specific teams, obviously. Then your automatic selections for certain ranking, and obviously getting into events as well. It's a massive thing. So, it's an important ranking for pretty much all amateur golfers at any level. And as I said, I really don't know how accurate it is, or how if there's any problems with it. Yeah, there probably is, but there's probably always going to be someone's going to feel hard done by the rankings.
Absolutely. We'll move on now to the European Tour Championships, which are played at this upcoming 11th and 15th of July. So 4 teams have been selected. Obviously, there's the European Amateur teams, the European Ladies team, the European Boys team, and the European Girls team. But we're focusing here on the European Men's team. You have been selected alongside Max Kennedy, Alex McGuire, Liam Nolan, Mark Power, and Keelan Rafferty to take part in this event that's happening in Belgium at the Royal Waterloo Golf Club. Each championship consists of 2 rounds of stroke play qualifying, and then the top 8 teams progressing into match play for overall championships. That's a very strong team, Matt, looking at it, for the last couple of weeks especially. Obviously, the likes of Alex McGuire has been on fire. Max Kennedy won recently as well in Ulster. Keelan Rafferty's been thereabouts every week too. Must be a lot of confidence in this team going to Belgium that they can go and get a result here.
Yeah, I mean, the team's class. There's so many guys in Ireland who are playing really good golf, and it's obviously always a tough team to pick for the selectors. As players, obviously, we just have to play golf and sort of try to turn up and play well. So, there's loads of guys who don't make the team who are perfectly capable of going and doing a job as well. So it's obviously just up to the guys who've been selected to go out and play as good as you can, enjoy the week, and let the golf hopefully take care of itself. But I think I've played the last couple of years in the team championships, and it's been probably somewhat disappointing, the results we've had. So as I said, all the guys are in good form, obviously all great players, and I think if we play the way we can play and go out and enjoy it, then we'll see what position we end up in. But as I said, a couple of the guys in really good form. I'm sure once we get there, then the confidence will be pretty high, and as I said, it'll be an enjoyable week.
You're captained by Niall McSweeney. You're managed then by John McKinstry, and then your coach is Michael Collins. How involved have you been with the coaching staff? How involved have they been with you guys?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's more of those sort of team events, and the events we go away with Golf Ireland is when the guys are most involved. So obviously all the players are really appreciative of the time they put in and the help they give us when we're away with Golf Ireland. Events like this week, the individual events, it's very much that we're all away by ourselves and doing our own thing. But yeah, when we go in on the team trips, obviously you need the guys there to help us out and get the get the stuff done that we sort of take for granted probably a lot of the time. So it's great getting away with the team and the team atmosphere. Everyone's very much involved with each other, and it's always an enjoyable and relaxing week.
Last question then, Matt, is obviously the first 2 rounds are stroke, and then it hopefully goes into a match play setting. You guys play a lot of that format. Is it tough switching between the 2 mindsets of stroke play and match play? Because do you treat them differently? Is there a different mindset in your head, or are they separate entities altogether?
I think I don't think it's I don't find it difficult switching between the two. We've played so much stroke play and obviously played a lot of match play in Ireland as well. So I think most of the guys are pretty similar. I don't think it's hard switching between the two. I think the best way to look at it is, it's the same game at the end of the day. It doesn't really matter. I think maybe in match play, maybe there's an argument to say you're a bit more aggressive and obviously go for things a bit more, try to make birdies, and if you make a bogey or a triple, it doesn't make a difference. So maybe match play just playing a bit more aggressive and maybe taking a few pins on that you might not do in stroke play. But as I said, with the standard of golf as well that's going on at the moment in amateur golf, you've got to be pretty on your game to win games at that standard. So the stroke plays, it's tough to sometimes play too defensive, I think, in the stroke play, which I think we've had issues with in the past, is that we've maybe not played as aggressive as we should have in the stroke play. And I think that's something going into this year, is that the mindset has to be that you have to attack from the first hole in the stroke play, because as I said before, the standard of the guys playing are so good that if you go out and shoot level par, then you're losing loads of ground on them. So I've played a couple times, and it's a cool format, the team format with the stroke play qualifying and then going into the team match play. So I think we can do well, and I think all the guys are pretty confident with how they're playing. So if we just sort of attack from the start, we'll hopefully have a good week.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree. The standard this year has been insane. The scoring has been sick. Yeah. But we'll wrap up there, Matt. Thank you very much for taking your time out. As I said, we all know you're a busy man. Best of luck in that European Team Championships. We'll obviously be following along and supporting. Appreciate it as always, man. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem at all, Stephen. Good chatting to you.
And thanks again to Matt McClean for joining me here on the Golf Ireland pod. Always fascinating to pick his brain, especially with the events that he's taken part in at Augusta and LACC there in the Masters and the US Open. Must have been an incredible experience, so thanks again for him to come on. Looking ahead now, we have a couple of events to preview. We have happening, actually kicked off yesterday, the Tuesday to July 4th and running until July 7th, the Friday. We have the Irish Boys and Girls Amateur Close Championships, which is taking place at Monkstown Golf Club. And then the same days, same time, is Irish Senior Men's and Women's Amateur Close Championships, which is taking place at Strand Hill Golf Club. So best luck to everyone taking part in those championships, and if you're in and around the areas of Monkstown or Strand Hill over the next coming days, try and get down there and support the boys and girls and the senior men's and women's. There will be some brilliant golf on display around 2 brilliant golf courses. And then also, we kind of touched on it with Matt McClean, but the squads have been announced for the European Team Championships. This will be taking place on the 11th to 15th of July. I'll just take you through the teams again. So the European Amateur Team Championship, the men's squad, we have Max Kennedy, Alex Maguire, Matt McClean, Liam Nolan, Mark Power and Keelan Rafferty. That is captained by Niall McSweeney, managed by John McKinstry, and then the coach is Michael Collins. We have on the European Ladies Team Championship, we have Sarah Byrne, Beth Coulter, Anya Donegan, Anna Foster, Kate Lanigan and Jessica Ross. And they are captained by Niamh Quigg, and they are managed by Helen Jones and coached by Donald Scott. Then in the European Boys Team Championship, we have Aegon Brady, Finn Dobbin, Mark Gazzi, Sean Keeling, Jack Murphy and Gavin Tiernan. They are captained by Peter English, managed by Jim Long and coached by Stephen Hood. And then in the European Girls Team Championship, we have Anna Abam, Olivia Costello, Kate Dillon, Emma Fleming, Marina Joyce Moreno and Katie Poots. They are captained by Sarah Rose Shelley, managed by Neil Manship, and coached by Chris Jelly. So yes, that again taking place on the 11th to the 15th of July. There are your squads, so looking forward to that as well. And that wraps up, I think, another episode of the Golf Ireland Pod. Thanks again, as always, for tuning in. As we say, we always appreciate you listening. And we'll be back next week again for another episode. So we'll see you then.